Italian journalist and transfer expert Fabrizio Romano has stated no change on the Conte situation, and the feeling remains the same, with Antonio Conte set to leave the club in June. The women's head coach Rianne Skinner has just been sacked following a ninth defeat in the WSL. Eric Dier has spoken out about Richarlison's comments post-match AC Milan game. And a hilarious new Paddy Power advert has just been released featuring Jerry Francis, Darren Anderson, Glenn Hoddle and Teddy Sheringham. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all keeping well. This is another edition of Tottenham News, where I'll be going through all of the latest Spurs news, rumours and reports. If you're watching this on YouTube, please do hit that subscribe button, like, share and comment below. And if you're listening to this on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. So let's start with some comments from Italian journalist and transfer expert Fabrizio Romano on Antonio Conte. He has stated no changes on Antonio Conte's situation. The final decision will be at the end of the current season together with the club, but feeling remains same with Antonio Conte to leave Tottenham Hotspur in June. He then goes on to say personal and family reasons will be crucial. Spurs have not started new coach process yet. On Monday, Tottenham Hotspur Football Club released the following statement. The club can today announce that women's first-team head coach Rianne Skinner has been relieved of her duties. Having joined us in November 2020, following a spell as assistant head coach of the England national team, Rianne guided us to an 8th place finish in the Women's Super League in the 2020-2021 season, before lifting us to 5th, our highest ever placing in the WSL, along with a spot in the semi-finals of the Continental League Cup during another season of progress in the 2021-2022 season. Rianne Skinner departs with the team in 10th position following Sunday's defeat to Liverpool. Assistant head coach Vicky Jepson will take the team for Wednesday's home fixture against Leicester City. Spurs defender Eric Dier has confirmed that the issue of Richarlison's post-match AC Milan comments have now been solved after the players and staff sorted the matter internally. He said, "Yes, of course, I think we solved it between us and it is among us. I think from the moment we solved it, we started saying we will not continue to talk about it or continue to punish him." Eric Dier then continued to say, "It happened, we solved it between us, and that is it. It is time to move on. He had a great game against Forest on Saturday. It is his quality. He plays with his heart, lives with his heart, and sometimes he has got to be able to control it in the best way off the field." A report has just been published by the Daily Mail about a number of Tottenham Hotspur legends. It states that Teddy Sheringham transforms into a Gallagher brother, and Glenn Hoddle claims he's always been a Blue, as Tottenham legends cheer on Manchester City to beat Arsenal to the title in new Paddy Power advert. It states a series of Tottenham legends have proclaimed themselves as Manchester City fans in a hilarious new advert for Paddy Power, with Tottenham's rivals Arsenal leading the way at the top of the Premier League by 5 points from Manchester City. Fans and ex-players are fearing a title win for their North London neighbours. Cleverly playing into that fear, Paddy Power's new advert features a number of well-known faces connected to Spurs, throwing their lifelong support behind second place Manchester City. Glenn Hoddle amusingly kicks things off, proclaiming to be a Manchester City fan, man and boy, whilst browsing through his Manchester-based record collection and calling indie rockers, the Charlatans, plastic manx, while denying his dislike for Arsenal because Manchester City are mint. Next up, and ready to steal the show, former Spurs striker Teddy Sheringham channels his inner Gallagher brother by dressing up and talking like he's just walked out of Britpop Manchester in 1996. Calling the reporter "our kid," Sheringham says he's never heard of Arsenal and that City just need to roll with it in the Premier League title race. Not to be outdone, Gerry Francis, who managed the club during the 90s, is billed to having football's best hair, and he's sat in a Manchester pub wearing a bucket hat. Gerry Francis recalls being the only citizen in the village while struggling to remember what local haunts he should be name-dropping and professing a love for the drink Vimto. Finally, in the Advert's amusing finale, Darren Anderson, complete with the tagline, won a trophy at Spurs, an actual trophy, admits he wants Manchester City to win the league, not just because he is a City fan, but because he effing hates Arsenal. It then states that the former England midfielder then sings off by belting out City's famous anthem, Blue Moon, whilst trimming the hedges in his front garden. Now, my thoughts on these stories in this episode. Let's start by talking about Fabrizio Romano's comments. He has stated no changes on the Conte situation, and the feeling remains the same, with Antonio Conte set to leave the club in June, of course, when his 18-month contract ends at the club. I do feel very frustrated, and I've said this many times. We've had three fantastic managers in recent times: Pochettino, Jose Mourinho, Antonio Conte, and we haven't won a trophy. We haven't got over that line. Two proven managers out of those three. Jose Mourinho, of course, has won trophies everywhere he's gone, except Spurs, sacked 6 days before a cup final. Antonio Conte has won trophies everywhere he has managed, except Spurs, about to leave in the summer. Now, it is all about planning. It is all about ambition. It is all about vision and ambition with this football club now. And it is another huge summer coming up for this football club. Of course, Harry Kane will go into the final 12 months of his contract. Will Spurs manage to get that deal done? And will they manage to get Kane signed up again? What manager do we go for? Do we go for another serial winner? Do we go for a proven manager in the Premier League? Do we go for a younger manager? It'll be interesting to see what Tottenham Hotspur do. There are so many names at the moment being thrown into the hat. Of course, a lot of fans would like to see Mauricio Pochettino come back. I think that is quite unlikely, actually, although I've said many times, and I stand by it, I would love to see Mauricio Pochettino back one day. Is this the right time? I'm not so sure, but I would love to see him back one day. I personally can't see Spurs going with Mauricio Pochettino for lots of reasons. I think that there are so many good managers out there. It is just, what decision do we take? So, of course, the best we can play for now is the top four to be playing Champions League football next season. And, of course, to have any chance of keeping the likes of Harry Kane, you've got to be playing the Champions League. I don't think there's any way that Harry Kane will be a Spurs player if we are in the Europa League, or dare I say it, in the Europa Conference League next season. To have a new manager coming in, it would be absolutely delightful that they would know that they were coming in, going in the Champions League. It'd be fantastic. And Antonio Conte can then leave the football club with his head held high. No, he hasn't won a trophy, but he came into Spurs when Spurs were a mess. And to deliver 2 top 4 finishes in the 2 seasons that he has been at Spurs, I think that would be successful for him personally. And as I say, he can then leave the football club with his head held high. Now, on Monday evening, Rhian Skinner was sacked as the women's head coach. It doesn't really surprise me, if I'm completely honest. 9th consecutive WSL defeat on Sunday against Liverpool. The Spurs women are next in action this coming Wednesday, so wishing them all of the very best. They are playing Leicester City, who are bottom of the league. They are only 2 points away from the Spurs women, so this is an absolutely must-win for the Tottenham Hotspur women. And the women are now on the search for a new manager. Now, Eric Dier's comments about Richarlison, I think that all of these types of things should be behind closed doors. I don't think that, the fans need to know exactly what has been said. But Richarlison was given the chance by Antonio Conte on Saturday, and I've got to say, Richarlison, I was very impressed with him. probably his best game in a Tottenham Hotspur shirt so far. I know some fans will say, yeah, but we were only playing Nottingham Forest. But Richarlison, you've got to give credit where credit is due. He was involved in all 3 goals. This is exactly what I want to see from Richarlison. I had such high hopes for Richarlison signing him. I know he can play on the left, he can play on the right, he can play through the middle. You know, I think a lot of people would argue after the World Cup, you know, a lot of people would probably want to see him through the middle a lot more to score goals. Very unlucky not to score his first goal in the Premier League for Spurs. But I think if he gets more minutes, you know, his confidence will grow and the goals will come for him. Thanks for watching and thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're watching this on YouTube, please do hit that subscribe button, like, share and comment below. And if you're listening to this on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. Enjoy the rest of your week. I'll see you on the next one. Until then, come on you Spurs.